Friends, I greet you. With you as before, Suzanne Sergey. So you are watching Feeder Fishing TV. Today. First filter fishing. In season 2025, I spent all the holidays on the ice. I think my subscribers already know. Who are on social networks, they are waiting for this video to come out, because the editing takes time. Time is not always a successful fishing, and so on. Therefore, the first part of the year that has begun, I am already more precisely the first month. I spent the beginning years on ice. For those who are interested to see this, what? I studied there. Did I catch bream and daring fish? Come in and subscribe for sure. Today we are in the Kropotny. Kropotny is the most hackneyed section of the Moscow River, because it is conveniently located nearby. As always, I waited for not the best weather. That night the frost hit. Although everyone is already almost sure that the winter will be like this, plus and so on. Frost hit at 13 degrees. There is a decline now. It will be +1 in the evening. I'm once again caught in some kind of weather breakdown. Now they are promising snowfall on top of that. Well, in short, all 33 pleasures. Yesterday friends had a good time fishing here. They caught almost everything there for something, 8 maybe 7 kilograms. The bream was good, it was biting well. The weather is calm, everything is as usual when I'm not there. Well, we'll try today. We'll try and see what's going on here, because I haven't caught them here for almost a year. Let's look at the water level. The only thing that is visible is that something happened with the water level, because it's fresh. Frozen level and water, in my opinion, up to. It's still going down. While I'm ready, let's get the bait going. But the weather, as you can see, is whispering. But let's briefly go over it, until the microphones freeze and the camera freezes too. I don't remember, to be honest, and I completely forgot to look. I wanted to watch the previous episodes from this location, and I remember that the boundaries were some kind of 50, and some around 30. Accordingly I searched. 30 seemed like a dubious distance. And 50, well, the standard is a smooth, even path. What is the depth there? No, I applied for 5, and at a distance of 30 about 4. Well, the distance of 30 is tougher. That long distance is softer. Of course there is more prospect there, and there is movement and closer to that part, respectively. Ruslana Ditch is closer to there directly, because I fished from that side 3 to 4 years ago. At the lowest level, I came up and threw the fish basket. He was hanging there completely vertically. That is, there is practically a wall after measuring. Accordingly for food, I made the bait as inert as possible. I filled it up with syrup and added some more on top, so that it is sticky enough. Inert smelled. But when feeding, I had to pick it off the feeder, practically in the same ratio. Immediately fed on the cut bloodworms. Thank goodness Kirill, luck is still there. There is a bloodworm in action. Maggots, everything you need for winter fishing, although it looks like a maggot to me. Less and less is possible. It's very good to catch on pure bloodworms. Unless of course I'm going to catch just roach, on those same Mariinsky bars after the death. 40 minutes of just no movement. Or I fed in a strange way. Or it didn't get into the bait at all, and maybe my friends who were fishing here yesterday, who were shouting that you can catch them for under 10 there. Come on in, there's a good bite there. Well, for now, somehow, it's not working. The first 40 minutes of disasters. It's a serious disaster. I think so. This is clearly not a successful fishing trip. Well, it's okay, let's conjure a little bit for now. Got out of the habit of feeding concentrates. Let's start pouring now, because 40 minutes without movement. Well, this is a very strange thing. We'll definitely start adding concentrates. Let's try to move forward in this chocolate theme. Well, let's fiddle with the length of the leash, because there is a feeling that on the far frontier. By the way, I didn't feed him very evenly. The gusts of wind are just something like 15, sometimes from the left, sometimes from the forehead. That is, it is clear that we are in some part of the cyclone. I haven't fed you very evenly now, but let's try to put something there on this cut. The feeder there is 60 grams and periodically rolls up. There is definitely some kind of current. Precisely in the channel part. Well, we'll see. Let's see that the fish is very passive. Let's unpack the near border and try from the near border. Because now, well, nothing interesting is happening yet. I waited in utter bewilderment. Well, what about the second hour? I've already unpacked the other half. Hooray, ha ha ha. I have as many as 2 bream. The situation is this, which speaks that in essence you can probably go home and there will be no video. But strangely enough, these 2 breams. There were distances which well here well. Closer to spring it will probably work. That very one, these 27-30 and exactly 2 bream. An hour after feeding. At a pace of about 4 minutes. That is, the first bite occurred after 4. The second one is also somewhere there 4-5. Well, of course it is, that the fish won't be super active today. There is no fierce tempo either. But 2 times 4 showed that it seems to have some significance. But it's okay. Another 30 minutes in. From 10th casts. Nothing was given at all from this close point. Well, I already understood the ruble, that after 5 casts of 4 minutes nothing happens. I didn't want to go to such a bank. I just took it. And the far point, the wind died down the distant point very straight exactly. Out of 5 throws 3 I just very roughly. I guess I got there cut bloodworm. I finished feeding the far point and didn't go to it. Sat here even 4. There are 3 throws. And went to the distant. I immediately caught a bream for 2 minutes. Another 1 minute 4. Probably another 1 minute 5. And there's just some fucking silence again. I don't understand, or I did something wrong with you. Or something is wrong with the feed, because after feeding you go to the point. The fish stopped biting. Or fish in a tier. Fish in a long line. Why the bite is not visible at all, just lift, and there's someone hanging there. That's why the leashes are now distributed. There are already 2 forms now. Because we will be watching this behavior. Pick up leashes at close range. Where there is practically no stream, the feeder costs 30-40 grams makes no sense. There is a long leash. In general, all the bites were visible on super light hooks. In 18th and 16th size. The big one just didn't rise at all. That is, there were touches and so on. The fish just fall off him. Doesn't even want to raise it, suck and swallow and so on. At long range it's the other way around. I took off the light hook and left the long leash. But the hook was set heavy. And now there are 2 forms standing in a quiet place. Shit, because nothing is happening. I'll try to download it now, start the long range one again, because the distant one still has a jet. Definitely cut by a bloodworm. It should collect fish very well along the current, at close range. Where there is practically no current, but there this whole procedure will take a very, very long time, with such activity. Although in theory it's a cool wall. Then the fins just start from these 29. Fins rise here. Such a sand wall as if, well, for the bream it's like a festive thing. They should be comfortable with everything, but 3-4 fish and then that's it. Maybe someone is chasing them there of course, but for now it's experience. Winter raids. On the ice with the crested ones. By optics and so on. Shows that well bream. The one we thought about all the time, that this is a really super bottom fish, that he's crawling around on the bottom with his belly right there. I'm kind of actively doing this now. I'm studying this piss. Well, I don't see Belle climbing around. Exactly right here is a bream. I saw her specifically on camera, so that he would crawl right along the bottom. There are some pike perches crawling along the bottom underneath it. Some normal pikes there. 2-room 3-room apartments that simply don't let them go down. And they slowly swim after him, at this stage. And those who want to try something to eat there, will definitely be punished. That's why they run around in such a thick place. Well, how thick is it? There can be a meter from one. So far these are the observations in. I saw just such things on camera, which well just up to this moment. But I didn't have any explanations. When they just threw some from the winter feeding trough. Respectively. In the hole for the small Tolyagor lies a rocker with leashes. This rocker arm even everything is just in moths. Because the bloodworm is alive and in perfect shape. The bream swims and doesn't even look there. And so that you understand, bream is a school. I don't know 15 to 15. A square like this is just in meters, it's just like that and the height is 3 meters. And so they float and no one goes down there. This is just some kind of utter nonsense for me, because for all the sporting experience of course you can stamp out the fish. It can be overclocked, you can make her peck. But when you realize that there are just 4 floors of it, and she doesn't bite, this is of course nonsense. Of course I don't say anything about today, I'm just sharing my experience, so far by distances. And I understand the pace of fishing. Just don't freeze. I'll be doing something funny sit at 2 distances. Let's see what comes of this. Maybe some will be quite different. Well, that's unlikely. Or maybe not. Well, so as not to sit around too long, I'll still try to wave and see what happens next. The snow is getting heavier. I have already switched to the format. Riser feeder. It's just 2 forms. About 20 minutes. Just has no movement at all. It seems to me that the heavier the precipitation, that's why this beak is so ugly. Well, at least, you can definitely say that about today. That is, there was no activity in the morning. I figured it out more or less on cue. Now again a whole cup of chopped tolia. I'm making another tokor. If little comes to life, then we pack our suitcases. And we're leaving because, well, if only there was some movement, it would be interesting to do some magic. And so when you undertake some actions, attempts there by lengthening the leash, up to 20 meters, hooks there from small to large of different wire thickness, nozzle 1 moth and so on, there is less feeding trough, more is easier. Nothing just happens. Speaks about that the fish was somehow really pinched somewhere, but nevertheless, in such a suit minus, which is up to -50, these -13 are not a problem for me at all. It's very comfortable now, the only thing that occasionally grabs my hands. But there is a cool solution for hands, guys. I saw these guys on the ice. I tried it and I liked it. And today I got my fingers cut off. Trust the person who has. Gloves for 20,000, Sims and Gore-Tex and so on and so forth. The coolest solution for feeder. Because killing expensive gloves in the feed. I don't feel like going to the farm and so on. Well, the most important thing is that the gloves hold water well. I already bought something similar there last year. It's clear that this is some kind of rubber, well covered, and so on, but that year I bought it for the car. To be able to sweep it there comfortably. Something else, this rubber is getting hard, and your fingers just don't even fit in there, just until the end. This year, the guys from the Middle Kingdom thought of it and did the same thing. Only on silicone. Inside there is this artificial fur cheburashka, and I don't know what kind of fur this is, clearly not merino, but the point is that I walked on ice. And already more than once well, really, how much is there? -7 to 10, something like that. These gloves are very comfortable to walk in, with vibes and balance sheets and so on. Quite a few things stick. Even if it sticks, the hook simply doesn't penetrate the silicone. And you can easily get it out. That is, with a bare hand it sticks to the skin even faster and it's difficult there. Every time to inject and receive. In these gloves I just took and cut off my fingers. Like this. The most important thing is about the rubber section, about the silicone one. Does not bloom at all. Cool thing costs something I don't know. But in comparison with that, we ourselves have lived to make very little money, as they say before such advertising. But there is just some kind of plus to this. The most important thing is that it's all silicone, it doesn't slip. You can get into the bait. You can get into the water. the most important, don't get into trouble like I did last year with rubber. You need to look for silicone. It's -13 there now. They are soft and cool. They are very comfortable. It's comfortable and you can sit there all day. But since I have, the suit is super warm. It gets hot from time to time. Even I take them off. So it is written up to -30, but I think that -15 is quite normal. Wow, we're getting some bites from the guys. Close. Barely moves. No, is this out of place or something? Who are you? Everything is clear. Everything is clear. This is a sign. This is a sign. He. I found a roach, my dear. Don't be a mother, go and grow up right away. So dress comfortably. Feeder fishing. Require a certain level of clothing. Because while we carry things we get very wet. Then we sit there, it's cold. So be sure to search. Pick interesting clothes, but I hope this advice will be useful to you. Phew. What do we have there? Well, I think somewhere probably. Wool 5/6, that is exactly. The fish is all measured and cool. But not easy. Here they are, handsome men. Who powdered my head properly today? Well, never mind. Turned on towards the end. Distant at the very moment when the snow ended. 15 minutes 3-4 fish. Snow is starting to fall again. Everything turns off again. Well, the sediment definitely did its job. The elephant made the weather. But nevertheless, today I had fun on the long haul. In the end I caught it with a blank. Loosen long distance. It turned out I had a super stick since the summer. Shock leader none. There were no problems with the node. The rings are wide enough. Processed cord. It seemed like 50 wasn't a problem for him at all. Even the wind blows through. With a feeder 80 plus food it's probably 120. I've been kicking around all day today. Well, are you friends subscribed to the channel? Let's see what kind of winter it will be next. And it still continues, and what kind of fishing do I have? Are expecting again. And you are with me as always. From you, like, subscribe, and see you soon.